You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We know some time ago, Governor Gavin Newsom issued this executive order trying to clamp down on homelessness. But his order only had to do with state property. And I made the point that, well, you got to be more than state property or it's not going to mean anything. But since then, Governor Newsom has said, and I'm paraphrasing, that he'll withhold money from local municipalities if they do not do something with homelessness right where they are. And since that time, you've heard about how Long Beach was clearing out parks, and now Santa Monica at this very moment is considering banning sleeping in public spaces and more.
This is a problem that has plagued the city of Santa Monica for years. But now the city says it's going to get the homeless off the streets. City leaders are holding a meeting right now to discuss the issue and a proposal to try and fix it. NBC4's Darsha Phillips is following it all for us. Darsha, what do you know?
Yeah, Robert, this comes in response to a recent Supreme Court ruling that allows cities to make sleeping outdoors illegal. And this is a hot button issue that draws passionate arguments from both sides. On one hand, you have residents and business owners who have complained about the homeless population here in Santa Monica, expressing their fears and frustrations with the drug use and mental illness. And on the other hand, you have homeless advocates who say the Supreme Court ruling and Governor Gavin Newsom's order for cities to clear homeless encampments criminalizes being unhoused and does nothing to solve the problem. Well,
I was talking to Mark Thompson before I started the show, and I was previewing this. And if you've never been to Santa Monica, just drive through it on any given day. Not all homelessness is created equal. If you go down Skid Row, that's one type of homelessness. You go to down Santa Monica, they're doing a whole lot better, okay? They may not have a house to live in, but their accoutrement, they're doing a whole lot better than the folks on Skid Row. I'm not saying it's optimal. I'm not saying they want to be there. Well, maybe some of them do. I'm not saying that it's like living in an apartment. I'm just saying if you have to be homeless, Santa Monica is probably the place to be.
Well, today's meeting, Santa Monica City Council will consider 3 proposals. 2 essentially would keep things as is and observe how other cities handle the issue. 1 proposal would make sleeping in public with sleeping bags and blankets illegal. But even proponents of such an ordinance say they have little hope that if it passes, it will be enforced.
So the city, being compassionate, wants to limit it to just state-owned properties. There are a lot of state-owned properties, but most of the problems are on public properties.
I said that.
The no camping laws that you see on signs at every single park aren't being enforced.
Santa Monica has not provided a plan on how such an ordinance banning sleeping in the public would be enforced if it is.
That's the whole point. You can ban sleeping in public, but either you won't enforce it or you don't know how to enforce it. So you happen upon homeless people sleeping on 3rd Street Promenade, which is not unusual. And so it's illegal. And then you either ask them to move or you physically remove them, you cite them, you arrest them. Then what? Are you going to hold them in prison? Are you just going to leave them with the citation? Or do they go from 3rd Street to 4th Street? Do they go to Santa Monica Boulevard? Do they go to Ocean Avenue? In other words, are you just changing locations or are you actually addressing the homelessness issue? That's the thing. And Mark, you and I have been talking about this time and time again. It's nice that you want to do something. I'm saying the city. It's nice that you want to do something. It's nice you want to ban sleeping on public streets and public parks, but you still have to address the people. Saying you just can't stop here doesn't end the problem.
No. And they're going to be sent to that magical place called somewhere else.
Not in my backyard, not in my front yard, not on my street. So long as I don't see it, then it's okay. If you're saying you're going to ban sleeping in public spaces in Santa Monica, does that mean they can go to the to the city of Palms? Does that mean that they can go to Westwood? Because they will go somewhere and you still haven't actually dealt with the issue.
It's the weirdest thing. People are so rude that they won't just phase out of existence because they're offensive or inconvenient to you.
Well, and see, that's what they want ultimately. And if you go back to the piece, yes, Santa Monica will choose between one of three options. Either they will ban it or they won't, or they have to figure out whether they're going to do some study and figure out if there's some way that they can possibly implement some plan. It's not going to lead anywhere because you still haven't dealt with the real issue, people.
No, I've mentioned before, compared this to the theory of conservation of energy. You can't just will stuff out of existence. If you don't like something, you have to do something about the cause of it instead of just brushing it under the rug.
But there are two sides to this. The city of Santa Monica, and I don't want to presume some sort of ulterior motive other than the city is being forced to act because of what Governor Gavin Newsom has sent down. And the threat of withholding state funds is enough to get cities to act, even though it might be what I call false hustle, where they're acting, it's motion, it's activity, but it's not really going anywhere.
It's like a homeless person shell game. Just move them around.
No, that's exactly what it is. Because the number of homeless people are not going to be decreased by you forbidding them to sleep in public spaces. So what are they going to do? Just keep walking?
Yes. Yeah. Just walk in a circle around the wheel of pain. That's like right. Conan the Barbarian.
Just don't stop. Just don't go to sleep. If you go to sleep, we'll have to cite you. If you keep on walking, there's nothing we can do to you. But what's happening in Santa Monica right now at this very moment will probably be happening in a number of cities, if only because there's a fear of losing out on resources and funds, not actually an idea which would actually address the problem.
Doesn't it seem to you, though, Mo, like sometimes people just throw up their hands when there's not an immediate and easy and evident solution to a problem like this? I mean, if there was an easy solution to homelessness, we'd have it by now. But it's a nuanced issue, and it requires a lot of work and thought. And I think people just want them out of the way. They don't want to deal with the hard part.
I am far more cynical than you on this one.
How so?
I don't think anyone has any desire to solve the problem. It's one thing to say it's a really hard problem and people are not willing to put in the work. I don't think they care about solving the problem. It's not about making, I'll say, life more affordable. It's not about providing services. It's not about providing some sort of alternative. It's a good political football to kick around. It's a good election issue. It's good to see yourself grandstanding like Governor Newsom. We're doing this for homelessness, like Sheriff Villanueva in Venice Beach. You can see we're tackling homelessness. We're really cracking down on homelessness. But it's a problem which is not ever going to be solved because I don't think anyone wants to solve it because there's never any real focus on the human element. Yes, you can put them in temporary housing. Yes, you can talk about transitional housing from temporary to permanent, but there's never any real discussion or action about the factors which lead to it and the circumstances surrounding it. And how you can address them so you don't have someone get off the street and they're back in 3 months.
You may be right, actually, which is depressing. I hate to admit that. Like, I was wrong. You were, but I think as a journalist, especially, it is part of the definition of what I do to try to see things from the side of the underdog. And if you look at it from that point of view, I mean, what are they supposed to do?
As in homeless people?
Yeah. Where do they go? What do they do? What can they do? I mean, it's not a wide range of choices. I mean, you can always say, get a job, but that's really kind of a thoughtless approach to it because
that's an unserious response.
Well, yeah, if they could, they most probably would. Some wouldn't. There's always exceptions, but most people will do what is necessary to not be homeless. And people just get stuck. They have a run of bad luck. They have medical. The United States has more medical bankruptcies than any country on earth. There are any number of factors that could lead you or I or Foosh or Tawala to being homeless any month. And we have to have some humility when we discuss this.
Mark, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, and maybe we should have started talking about this earlier in the segment. You received a very nice email.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
From someone who was homeless, living in their car, yet listens to KFI all the time. And I think it should remind us of the wide spectrum of what homelessness actually is. It's not just sleeping in a cardboard crate. It's not just suffering from emotional or substance abuse issues. There's a wide spectrum, and there are a lot of things in between that people sometimes forget. The people who are living in their cars, who are working and living in their cars. You know, it's more than just the stereotypical view of someone who's rolling all their belongings in a shopping cart down the street.
I think it makes it much easier to dismiss if you just regard homeless people as just a bunch of bums, and they're not.
It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and when we come back, we're going to tell you how you can go to school, if you will, for game shows.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I miss Gene Rayburn.
He was the best.
With that long, skinny microphone.
I liked it when panelists got out of line and he would go on a rant about how it was his show and he'd grab onto the camera and stuff. Gene was the best.
Who do you think was the funniest person on that show?
Oh, Charles Nelson Riley. No question about it.
Not Richard Dawson?
He was funny, but he could get drunk and belligerent sometimes.
Yes.
You got to remember that they were drinking the whole time they filmed these, and they would film several at once, and you can see, if you watch several in a row, while you yourself are at home having a cocktail, that they get progressively drunker throughout a show. In fact, I watched one a few months ago where Scoey Mitchell, you remember him?
Vaguely.
He was so trashed he could barely speak in an episode.
Was Fanny Flagg on Match Game?
I believe so.
Yeah. Mo Kelly, KFI. Game shows. If you're as old as me, you grew up during the golden age of game shows. You come home, they come on at maybe 7 o'clock at night or something. It could be Match Game PM. It could be $25,000 Pyramid. It could be Jeopardy, of course. Joker's Wild. But it was great, I would say. It was the forerunner of modern reality television. It was unscripted for the most part. And you had everyday people who look like you, people who live like you, and it was fun. And then TV went away from it for, I would say, a couple decades. And now they've come back in a different form. The games now are just different. They don't have the same type of fun, I don't think, as they did in the 70s and 80s.
Well, things have changed. Like, remember, Gene Rayburn always made a point of groping whatever female contestant he had. His arm was around him for an uncomfortable amount of time. And by the way, we should note, Peter Marshall just passed recently.
Yes.
And if you don't know anything about him, he was quite an accomplished showman, singer, actor outside of Hollywood squares. He is well worth checking into.
And the reason we're talking about this is because Cal State L.A., they have debuted their first college course, America's first college course, which is studying TV game shows. And classes will be taught by a series of visiting professors, including producers of Hollywood Squares, since we mentioned Peter Marshall, and The Weakest Link. And Brooke Burns is going to be one of the professors, and she's the new host of Tic-Tac-Doe. I'm sorry, Tic-Tac-Doe can only be done by Wink Martindale.
I don't think we appreciated Wink enough at the time, back in the day.
Because he was like number 3 or number 4 on the list. He was up against Bob Barker. He was up against Gene Rayburn. Bert Convey with Card Sharks. They had huge personalities.
They did. And I believe Wink is still with us.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. If he isn't, I'm sorry. But as far as I know, he is.
No, I believe maybe I should try to get him on while you're gone.
Yeah,
Note to self.
Let's look it up. Yeah, Stephen, let's look it up so we can at least be correct. As you look him up, I'll give you some more information about the class. The first class includes the history of game shows and all the different jobs in the field. The second is about development, creating and testing and pitching an idea. In third class, you actually produce a pilot. And the idea came from Wheel of Fortune producer Harry Friedman and brought this to Cal State L.A. I wish they had courses like this when I was in college. This would have been pretty fun, and I wouldn't say easy, but it would be something to be very enjoyable to learn about the history of game shows and also how they're created, what goes on behind the scenes, some of the great moments in game show history. I've had friends who've been on Jeopardy, had a bunch of friends who've been on The Price is Right. I don't know if I know anyone who's been on Family Feud. You know, Richard Dawson, who was tonguing down everyone.
Yeah, that got a little uncomfortable too, didn't it? I don't think Steve Harvey does that.
No, but Steve has other issues, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Wink Martindale is still with us. He's 90.
90?
Yeah.
Wow.
Impressive head of hair on the man. Honestly, it's like the cliffs of Dover.
There were some game shows I never could get into. They just didn't make sense to me. Like, I was never a fan, regardless of host, of Let's Make a Deal. Monty Hall or whomever. I just never really liked the show.
Well, but on a sick day, when you're staying home from school and it's on, it's just kind of a big fun freak show.
I guess it is, but I was more, Price is Right. I really like Card Sharks, which was in the evening. Joker's Wild was in the evening. And for some reason, I think Joker's Wild came on like right after Benny Hill. It's like the same program block.
You do not want to start me talking about Benny Hill.
Look, I try to tell people all the time, Benny Hill was a legitimate actor. He was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. People forget that.
Hilariously funny.
Yes.
Brilliantly funny.
Wait, Mo, weren't you on a game show?
Yes, I did. Dating Game and also Love Connection.
Yes.
Wait a second.
We're not going to get out of this break.
What's with Barry in the lead here? Come on.
Well, okay. When I did, I think it was Love Connection. Well, I did one, and there was the same production company, so they had me do the other. And Tom Bergeron was a host when I did Love Connection. It wasn't Chuck Woolery. And in fact, if you go to my Instagram at Mr. Mo Kelly, there is a clip, and you can check right now, Mark, because I know you want to see this thing.
Oh, I do.
If you go to my Instagram, in my featured clips, let me see which one it is. Yeah, it's the first one all the way to the left. It says 12-4 weekend. I don't know why it says that. But there's a clip from me on Love Connection. And I can't remember her name, but she was the worst. We went to Magic Mountain, and they give you free tickets to Magic Mountain. I think maybe $100 or something like that.
Chaperone?
No. You just no.
Oh, it's not the days of Jim Lang anymore, is it?
No. And Tawala, don't think you're going to get out of this so easy either, because we know you've done some dating shows.
Oh, you're killing me.
No. What?
Yeah, no, yes, I did. But no one remembers that show.
The Fifth Wheel?
No, not the Fifth Wheel.
What did you do?
The Fifth Clinic?
Not the Matchmaker. What was it? With
the bus.
No. I wasn't on the one with the bus. I was on the one where Roger Lodge was the host. And they bring you, it was me.
Yeah, that's
it was real. Like, no, we go, it's two couples. We go as a couple, and we're tired of being with each other, and they set us up with another date.
Blind date.
That
yes.
Was it. Yeah. I did
The
blind
swingers
date.
show? Is that?
Okay, look.
No.
See, Tawala started something. Now we're going to have to carry it over to the next segment. There's too much story which has to be told here. I'll tell you the story about Dating Game and Love Connection, and Tawala will tell you about Blind Date.
Oh,
yeah.
Please.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Last segment, I was telling you about this game show course, which is starting at Cal State L.A. Learn everything about producing a game show. You get to pitch a show, create a show, pilot, all that kind of stuff. Then Tawala, in his infinite wisdom, wanted to bring my personal business and history into the conversation. Say, Mo, weren't you on a game show? And once upon a time, I was flirting with TV. Like, I was an extra in Lethal Weapon 3. I did Quantum Leap. Knots Landing, some other shows. But also to get seen, I was trying to do game shows. I did Dating Game with Tom Bergeron. He was a host at the time. And Love Connection, and the host was Pat Bullard. This is maybe 98, okay? And when I went out on the date for Love Connection, and we're going to play a portion of the date, we went to Magic Mountain. They gave us $100. That much I remember. I pick her up. I can't remember. I think it was some neutral location. She brought a Coke can, which had a sticker for like a discount for tickets to get into Magic Mountain. And I'm thinking like, they've already paid for that. It's free. You don't have to get a discount. She was cheap on cheap. She was not into me. I was not into her. She had the worst attitude ever. I think her name was like Wendy or something. It's like Winnie or Wendy, something like that.
Okay, since I know you, when have you looked her up recently to find out what happened to her?
I would if I could remember her name. I don't remember her name.
Oh, we got to find this out now.
So if someone recognizes her in the clip, and you can find it at Mr. Mo Kelly on Instagram, it's the clip in the highlighted clips. It says 12-4 weekend for some reason. It's all the way to the left. If you can find her or if you recognize her, yeah, reach out. I honestly have no idea. If my life depended on it, I wouldn't know how to get in touch with her. But here is the audio. I think you can hear it well enough about how the date ended. It didn't go well. Oh, let me just say this. And before we went on TV, the producer was saying like, hey, I think she's going to try to light you up. And, don't go easy on her because I think she's going to be really mean. I said, like, I'm not worried about it. It's like, don't you know I have a mouth on me? And I had a lot of confidence back then. Also, my middle name's William. Most people knew me as Will. My family to this day still calls me Will. So when they refer to me as Will, don't let that distract you. But here's like the latter portion of my time on Love Connection.
One of the women she's talking about was the woman who commented on her hair, on how nice it looked, and also was looking her up and down.
The woman was looking you up and down?
I guess. I didn't notice. So I don't know. I didn't pay attention to stuff like that.
So then what happened, Wendy?
So basically we ate, and then he took me back to my car, and I was like, okay, bye. And I got out of the car, and I went home. And that was it.
That was it? No kiss, no big...
She gave me a little Miss America wave. That was about it.
All right.
Good night. Have a nice life.
Yeah, I was like, see you later.
All right, well, let's find out how the audience voted. The audience also picked Will. 81% chose Will. And that, of course, means, Wendy, that you have to get married, the two of you. If you'd like another date with Will, of course, we'd pay for it.
No, thanks.
So that was basically it. Never saw her again, never passed her again. I just don't have any reference point. And even though we've talked about it, but with the internet today, if you see the clip and you recognize her, reach out to her and let her know that I still wouldn't go out with her again.
What didn't work? Why no sparks? What happened? Her attitude was garbage. She had a stank attitude from minute one. I knew as soon as I got out of the car, it was not going to go well. Physically, she was pretty. But the stank attitude. Wait, can you describe the attitude other than stink?
No, stank.
Oh, thank you.
Stank is a serious descriptor.
No,
Stank.
okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
She just was not present. She wasn't making any effort. And I didn't take it personally, if only because you meet someone, you don't have chemistry. Not a big deal. But if we played like the whole show, she tried to go after me because she was trying to show me up. It's like, look at here. This is not going to happen. And I wish I could find the whole show. My friend Chris found that on an old VHS tape. And so he sent that to me. So if you go to @Mr. Mo Kelly on Instagram, the left highlighted clip, it says Weekend 12-4. I need to change the name on it. You'll find the clip. You get to see her. I think it's Wendy or Winnie or something. I don't know what it was. I never saw her since. We didn't cross paths or anything. And, she lost out, but hey,
I always wondered what went on after the shows, because you also see actors at the start of their career on like old dating games and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I saw Robert Vaughn from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Tom Selleck on dating games. And so you did not go on to become a world famous actor.
I did not, but I'm glad you said that. When I did Dating Game, and I can't remember which one I did first, but it was the same production company. I was matched up with this woman by the name of Dee. That's all I remember. And she was there specifically because she was trying to kick off her acting career. She said, "Well, you're cool, nice, we had a nice time, but I'm only here for this." I think she even had a man at the time. So it was just, she was very transparent. It was nice. We had a good time, went out to dinner, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it was fine for what it was. And you can't make it but so real. Now, Tawala, your turn.
Okay, look, my setup for going on blind date was because me and at that time my roommate Lala Anthony, Lala from MTV and movies and The Shy and what is it, Power and all that. Okay, so at one point,
you're talking about Carmelo Anthony's ex-wife.
Yes, when
who's doing the thing with I think Jennifer Lopez now.
Yes, and I think she's producing a movie to do the Kim Kardashian story. Or Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian.
Okay, look. Yeah. Okay, you see Lala everywhere. When she first moved to L.A., she was on my radio station. She was my roommate.
I helped her
hanging
move
out. Yeah, just see, boom.
Yeah.
And we were at a bowling alley hanging out, and a producer for Blind Date said, "Hey, oh my God, you two make a fantastic couple. Would you like to come on Blind Date?" And we're like, "No, we're not a couple. This just my roommates, my friend. Like we hang out." And Lala was, no, T, I want to get on television. Let's do it.
You kicked off her career, TV-wise.
No, she always wanted to be on TV. She said, "I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to marry a basketball star. I'm going to be a mogul."
She said that?
All that. She said that when she first touched down in L.A. She's doing it now. But she wanted to go on this show, and we signed up to do it, but she bailed. She was like, "You know what, T? I'm not feeling well. I don't feel like doing it. I'll do something else." And I said, "Okay," but I committed to doing it. I went on with a girl I met at a Halloween party, and we went on these, and you know what's crazy? I went on my date with a young lady who wanted to be an actress, and the date was interrupted because Lala got sick. I think she went to Jerry's Deli and ate some bad food. And ended up the one across the street from Cedars.
Oh, from the Beverly Center.
From the Beverly Center, yeah. She got sick there and ended up at Cedars and asked me to come and be with her and hang out with her because she didn't have any family or friends here yet. I went there with my date and we spent the evening there. And we were supposed to go to the spa place, the one that used to be on Beverly.
I don't remember.
Mo, you remember the place? It was the place with all the hot tubs.
With the happy endings?
Yes.
Oh, gross.
Yes. I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, it used to be on Beverly where it was just a place where you would take spa dates and go on, on spa trips. But yeah, we were supposed to go there. And I didn't. And we went on blind date, and the date that my date went on, he tried to clown, and I got riled up because they were like, "T, same thing. He's going to come at you. Don't be afraid to go hard." And I did. I said some very unsavory things, and the host like, hey, it's all good. Okay, we're all good here.
But they didn't know that you were ready to fight as well.
Yeah, no, because I was really riled up, and they cut it, and me and my girl, quote unquote, we stayed together. Her name was Asali. I remember that. It was Asali.
Would you recognize her if you saw her?
Oh, yeah. No, I recognize her. Yeah, okay. I would recognize her. Absolutely. She was real cool. But it didn't last past that because we were both kind of just, trying to get seen.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. We told our stories of the world of entertainment. Oh, real quickly, Tawala, you have to tell your story about your Cheerios commercial.
You know what? When I was married, my then wife had us in a bunch of things. She was always gunning for us to do some show, something or another. And she managed to get all of us. And at the time, it was just me, her, and Mason and our son. And she got all of us in a Honey Nut Cheerios commercial, one of those commercials where they have the family sitting in the house. We're all enjoying Honey Nut Cheerios, and that aired all over the place. But because of her, we were in all types of televised things.
Hey, Mark, I have the link to that
I believe I've seen this, and it's mind-blowing. It's something special, yes.
Too bad we have to go to break. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Gotta tell you, those really brought back some memories. Hadn't thought about that in I don't know when. And I was telling Tawala Sharp, producer, we've been doing this entertainment thing for quite a long time. More than 30 years. And if you would have asked me when I graduated college in the early 90s, like, hey, do you know you're going to end up in radio? I would have said no way in hell, because I couldn't see that. I was all about the music industry and trying to be Big Willie, trying to make as much money as I could. You know, I was the exact same age as P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs. He was just coming into prominence at that time. We were both in Washington, D.C. at that time. So I was going to be the next big thing, or at least so I thought. And so when I was working in the music business, it was all about that. It was all about the parties, the money, and I didn't know where it was going to lead me. But if anything, it's allowed me to have all these great stories that now I get to tell to you here on KFI. Just wonderful life experiences that a lot of times they weren't so wonderful at the time, because I was trying to make my way in entertainment, messing around with TV and movies. And Mark, I don't know if I told you, when I was making reference to being an extra in television and movies, when I did Lethal Weapon 3, and you get to meet Danny Glover, and then I get to have him on this show, and I tell him about that story. Or when I and also met Mel Gibson back then, but Mel Gibson was not friendly at all.
I can see that. I've interviewed him, and I can see exactly how that would have gone.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to look at him. Don't go near him. Don't try to talk to him. Danny Glover, and this is at the height of Lethal Weapon popularity. Danny Glover was magnanimous. He was just talking to everyone. It's like, hey, how you doing? Where you from? Where'd you go to school? What does he want to be when he grow up? That type of thing. That's who Danny Glover was. Mel Gibson was just not friendly in that way. Maybe we just caught him on a bad week because we were out there for a number of days. But
he wasn't friendly when I interviewed him either, and that was way, way back around the time of Braveheart. You really had to work to engage him.
Yeah, and he's another person I'd love to have a conversation with now at this point in his career. Would absolutely love to.
You know, because of events in the intervening years, my interest in Mel Gibson has waned a little bit. But whatever awful things he's done in his personal life, I still think he's brilliant as a filmmaker and an actor.
Well, see, I wouldn't be interviewing him about those incidents in his personal life. And because I've done this business been in this business for so long, I know that what happened with Mel Gibson is probably not uncommon. In other words, if I catch enough people, celebrities, famous people, when they're under the influence and they start letting all that truth come out, I'm quite sure some similar sentiments would come out of their mouths.
You're probably right about that.
So that's why I don't get too high or too low or too far left or right when it comes to celebrities. They are people. Some I've met who are absolutely wonderful people. And there's some who I've met who are complete a-holes, and I don't shed a tear when bad things happen to him, her, or them.
Well, I mean, everybody's threshold is different. I'm less interested in like a Will Smith movie at this point, too. But I also am an H.P. Lovecraft fan, and boy, was he a racist. So it's just, where you draw your own lines.
Yeah, and for me, I think what Will Smith did was abhorrent. It was horrible. At the same time, in the job that I do, I would still interview him. And I would ask him about that, because I think that's a part of the record that I would want to be on. I would want to be on that record as far as asking him about it and having his answer be directed to me as far as what happened, why it happened, and who are you now?
It's complicated. Like, I have also gone out of my way never to put a dime in Roman Polanski's pocket, but he's one of the most brilliant directors who ever lived at the same time.
Right. And I think if anything, we've seen, you and me, we've seen, because we've done this for so long, they are really just people, regardless of how they may curate their Instagram or their publicist may try to present him, her, or them. They are just people, and they oftentimes are not people that we would really want to be around all that much.
No, and I think you find that just normal people, when they are presented with temptations that you and I are not, how they react can be a real Rorschach.
Yeah, because they don't live in the same world that we do. They really don't. I'm talking about the upper echelon celebrities. They don't have to answer to certain people. They're, for the most part, told yes all of the time. They make all sorts of mistakes, and there are other people who are literally there to clean them up and protect them, where they don't have to be held accountable in any aspect of their lives. And although I'm quote unquote somewhat of a public figure because I'm on KFI, I'm not in that world. And I don't have any delusions of being in that world.
Yeah, that's a whole different stratosphere.
Yeah. But if anything, I like the opportunity to be able to have conversations with those folks in that world. And that's the best part of being in entertainment. The memories, the stories, the anecdotes that you can't buy, that you just can't happen across. Like, for example, when you told me that you interviewed George Carlin, it's like, that's worth more than gold as far as I'm concerned.
It was one of the great experiences in my career as a journalist, and he was terrific as well. Smart guy he was, as presented, for sure.
And see, that's something I will never be able to experience.
Well, you'll always have Shatner.
Twice.
Damn you, Mo.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Stimulating talk for independent thought.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live